As soon as we get to the ship, we'll rest. Lunchtime will be, as you know, 1 o'clock. They serve lunch.
We've completed our visit to the west bank of the Nile and the area around Luxor, and now it's time to get on a little ferry boat that's going to take us back to Luxor. It's just about a 40-minute boat ride. Very pleasant as you glide along and see some of the various sights along the riverbanks of the Nile. And then we'll be getting back to our main cruise ship and checking in and having lunch. Just because the natives can swim in the river, don't think that the tourists can jump in. Same with the drinking water. You know, as a Western tourist in Egypt, it's really a safe country and the foods are delicious and there's no problem eating the foods, but you don't want to drink the tap water in Egypt. And I don't think you'd want to swim in the River Nile, nor would you want to ride on one of the local boats probably, but if you would, here's what it would be like. A little crowded, not too many amenities. It'd be very cheap to ride on one of these boats. But instead, we're cruising in style on the Nile Symphony. There's about 200 boats that cruise up and down the river, so you can take your pick. There's lots of things to do on board. One of the main things is just watching the river go by, watching the feluccas, seeing the little mud hut villages along the riverbanks, cruising into the main port of Luxor here. It's a very developed tourist center because of all the Egyptian temples and ruins that you've got concentrated all around Luxor. More temples here than any other part of the country. Of course, the pyramids just outside of Cairo and Giza are the single most important attraction in Egypt. And the second most important attraction is this area around Luxor. And you want to do it in the lap of luxury in this way, enjoying yourself on these medium-sized cruise ships. They've got anywhere from 50 to 80 cabins on board, so it's really not too crowded. And there's activities for the kids. There's ping pong, you can play chess, you can sit back and read a book while the boat's cruising along from one destination to the next. And on nearly all of these cruise ships, every cabin is an outside cabin, so you can sit right in your room, right on your sofa or on your bed and just look out the picture window at this fascinating scenery going by. It's like you've stepped back in time. Egypt today has a lot of similarities to Egypt of 1,000 and 2,000 years ago. It's still largely an agricultural country, and it depends on the Nile, obviously, for its irrigation. Nowadays, with the Aswan Dam, you don't have the flooding of the Nile as they did in historic times. The river levels are very completely controlled by the Aswan Dam, and yet there's enough water to irrigate the fields as there always has been. It doesn't rain very much in Egypt, but the water comes down the Nile. After all, the Nile is the world's longest river. So the rains might fall in Central Africa, and the water ends up here irrigating the deserts of Egypt and turning them into lush farmlands. Makes for beautiful scenery and some great pictures right from the comfort of your cabin on the ship. As you can see, these cruise ships are quite casual and they're a lot of fun, so you certainly don't have to worry about bringing along a jacket and tie, and you can purchase some clothing as you go. In this case, we're visited in the evening by some Nubians. And they actually row out to the ships in their little rowboats and they throw the shirts up at you, they'll throw the dresses up at you, and all the while you're bargaining, shouting back and forth, and they're asking for $20 and you're offering $5, and you might settle on $10 or $12 for one of these garments. They're very nicely made. Egyptian cotton is the best cotton in the world, so you can actually get some real good deals from those Nubian fellows. We've entered the lock. Now, this is part of the Aswan Dam complex. Because of the dam, there's a need for these locks so that ships can navigate up and down the Nile, and it makes an interesting sight as part of our evening event. Next morning, we're up for another delicious meal. It's a big breakfast here on board the ship. You can have omelets cooked to order, in this case by our hilarious waiter. He was filling in for the chef there, making some eggs for us and doing a real good job. Nice to have all of your meals included when you're on board the ship. You don't want to be shelling out extra money on board the ship when you're a captive prisoner of the boat, but in this case it's all included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the food was really quite tasty. Egyptian food tastes very similar to Greek food with some differences, but there's a real close parallel between these Mediterranean countries, and their cuisine is quite delicious and quite healthy for you as well, as long as you don't eat too much of it because it tastes so good.